Welcome to the first episode of Legends of Runeterra, where magic and might collide to determine the fate of the world. Opening narration voice over, the first clash has ended in blood and ash. Yet from the heart of the storm, a darker force awakens, seen on the battlefield aftermath. Smoke and snow swirl on a ruined battlefield littered with the corpses of men and monsters alike. The few survivors fall back towards the nearby river, wounded and exhausted. Captain Norin, a grizzled veteran with a missing eye and a scarred face, struggles to stay upright. Fall back to the river, he rasps, his voice hoarse from battle. We cannot hold this ground. One of his soldiers staggers, his armor shattered and his face pale. But Captain, the enemy still marches. Norin glances back to see a wall of frost giants crashing through their retreating ranks, smashing into the men like bowling balls and throwing them into the air. Their numbers seem endless. The ground trembles with each step. As if sensing the growing dread, the survivors turn and flee for their lives. From out of the ice mist, a towering figure emerges, clad in frozen steel and wielding a spear that crackles with frigid power. An aura of death and winter clings to him. He raises his head to the sky and roars, a sound that freezes the very air around him. The ice mist parts and the soldiers catch their first glimpse of their new commander, the Ice General. His armor is crafted from the frozen essence of glaciers, and his spear seems to be formed of pure frost. He stands there motionless, yet his presence alone fills the survivors with icy dread. Captain Norin's voice breaks. Gods help us. The Ice General takes a step forward, then brings his spear down hard on the ground. The earth cracks and splinters like glass under his might. Soldiers are thrown into the air, their screams echoing across the frozen landscape. With a wave of his hand, the Ice General signals his giant allies. They charge forward, crushing everything in their path. Soon, the battlefield is silent except for the howling wind. All that remains are the corpses of men and monsters, frozen solid. The Ice General surveys the carnage, a cold smile on his face. His work has just begun. Scene to castle throne room. Inside the castle, the king and queen sit on their throne as messengers frantically report the dire news. Messenger, my king, our troops have been decimated. A monster leads the northern army. The men call him the Ice General. King Darkos, a man of stern features and unwavering resolve, rises from his throne. His queen, Lydia, places a hand on his arm, her expression filled with concern. A monster, you say? She asks. Tell me more. Messenger, he is tall and strong, armored in ice. Wherever he goes, death follows. No arrow can pierce his armor and no sword can wound him. The king nods grimly, his gaze fixed on the flickering flames in the hearth. So this is no ordinary foe, and the legends speak of an army without equal, led by a commander whose touch brings eternal winter. If this general cannot be stopped, no wall, no kingdom will stand. Queen Lydia steps forward, her voice filled with determination. Then let us face this threat head on. We will send a contingent to aid our allies at once. Darkos shakes his head slowly. No, my love, this battle is far from over. To rush in now would be folly. Instead, I will send word to my brother. Let him prepare the northern fortress. If the Ice General reaches the capital, that is where we will make our final stand. As the messenger leaves, Raven emerges from the shadows, a sly smirk playing on his lips. He leans closer to his parents, his voice a low growl. Perhaps it is time to welcome new rulers, father. Imagine it, mother, in eternal winter. Just like the legends foretold, the king turns, his gaze boring into his sons. Do not speak so carelessly, Raven. This is no time for schemes. Raven bows his head, but his eyes flash with resentment. Of course, father. I was merely suggesting we seize this opportunity to claim the throne for ourselves. After all, if the Ice General defeats you, this kingdom will crumble. And who better to rule the ashes than our family? The king lets out a low growl, but before he can respond, Lydia steps between them. She places a hand on her husband's shoulder, her voice soothing. Enough, Darkos. Our allies need our support, not our anger. Come, let us send a message to our brother and prepare for the worst. As the royal family disperses, Raven's eyes narrow. He may not be the Ice General, but he could still bring winter to this kingdom, even if it meant plunging it into darkness. Scene 3, Market City, Hidden Cellar. In the bustling city, people hurry through the crowded streets, oblivious to the danger that lurks on the horizon. Inside a modest house, Mayra, a young woman with fiery red hair and determined eyes, spreads a glowing ancient scroll on a rough wooden table. Her friend, Timo, a lanky young man with kind eyes, watches her anxiously. Mayra traces the ancient symbols with her fingers, her brow furrowed in concentration. The prophecy speaks of the heir of flame. She murmurs, whoever they are, they're the only one who can face the Ice General. And how do we find them? There's no mark, no name. Timo asks, his voice heavy with worry. We must reach the Council of Elders, Mayra says, rising to her feet. They might know more about the prophecy in the air. Just then, the door bursts open and a rebel leader enters, his face grim. Legends won't save us, steel will, he declares. But Mayra shakes her head, her eyes flashing with conviction. I don't believe the prophecy is just a story. It must mean something. She pauses, her gaze distant as she whispers, why else would I feel the fire inside me? With that cryptic statement, she exits the house, leaving Timo and the rebel leader staring after her. Scene 4, Secret Chamber of Raven. Deep within the castle, in a secret chamber hidden from prying eyes, Prince Raven confronts a hooded stranger cloaked in shadow. The room is filled with arcane energy, with strange symbols carved into the walls. You promised me power, Raven snarls, his eyes blazing with anger, yet the Ice General crushes our armies. Was this your plan? The hooded figure turns slowly, revealing a face etched with wisdom and mystery. Their eyes glow with otherworldly light. Every storm clears the weak, the stranger says, their voice echoing with power. Only the worthy remain, and what of me? Raven demands, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. The hooded stranger takes a step closer, their gaze boring into Raven's. You are not the heir, Raven, they say, their voice a low whisper. You are the shadow that clears the path. The revelation hits Raven like a physical blow, sending him staggering backward. Fury burns in his eyes as he glares at the hooded figure. What did you say? He growls, his voice shaking with rage. The stranger continues, their voice calm and steady. You were chosen to lead the army, Raven. But the prophecy speaks of a different kind of power, a power that lies dormant within you, waiting to be unleashed. The hooded figure steps back, allowing Raven to see their face more clearly. Their eyes seem to pierce through his facade, reading his every thought and emotion. Are you truly willing to embrace the darkness, Raven? Are you ready to become the shadow that will plunge this world into eternal night? The question hangs in the air, heavy with anticipation. Raven stands frozen, torn between his desire for power and the dark path that lies ahead. Scene 5, Cliffhanger ending. On a windswept cliff, the Ice General raises his spear high in the air. The wind howls and the snow swirls around him, forming a vortex of frigid energy. The dead army rises, kneeling before their resurrected commander. The Ice General turns, his gaze fixed on the horizon. The storm around him grows fiercer, mirroring the turmoil in his heart. As he marches south, the camera pans to Mayra standing alone in the cellar, the scroll glowing in her hands. A faint flame flickers around her, unnoticed by all. A single tear rolls down her cheek, reflecting the light from the scroll. Will the hero rise in time? Who will join the fight against the Ice General? And what secrets lie dormant within Mayra, waiting to be unleashed? Find out in the next episode.